Science Bay, why do you not want to have another child?
because I don't want to be pregnant again. Pregnancy is very different each time that you have a child. So sometimes you get pregnant, you could have a very hard pregnancy. You could be sick the whole time. You have to take off work. You can't take care of yourself. Um, then another thing is like, it's very expensive to have a child.
Hmm.
Uh, Putting them in daycare, like I pay like $2,100 a month because my daughter's in Montessori daycare. So I will not be doing that again with a whole other kid and then just like having more than one kid. I know that I can't handle that.
Hmm.
I can't handle having more than one kid of my own. I can handle a stepson or stepdaughter. If I meet a man, he has a kid, I'm going to embrace their child or children. But having a kid of my own, I don't think I want to do that again. But I can handle some, if it's a partnership, they have their kid, I have my kid, we blend our family like that. I could rock with that. But I cannot handle another child. Like having one child is enough. Like I'm raising her by myself. I have to do everything completely by myself. And I think as a mother, and this is the important thing that I want to say about this, as a mother, if you're having a child, you have to understand that you have to take the burden of responsibility for that child no matter what, because you're the mom. Like the mom is like 9 times out of 10, you're going to have that child with you. The child is primarily going to live with you. You have the burden of motherhood. So it's your responsibility to take care of that child. The dad, most of the time, he can just opt to be there or not. All he has to do is just pay child support if he doesn't want to be there. But as the mom, you have the responsibility to be there. So, and I know that at the end of the day, when you have a child, like you have to be willing to say, at the end of the day, I will take care of this kid by myself if I have to. And I am definitely not gonna be a single mom of two kids. Like that's out. I've already single mom of one. Like single mom of two, I can't do it. So those are some of the reasons why I will not have another child. And childbirth is a whole other thing. Like childbirth is wild. Like your body is not the same anymore after you give birth when you're pregnant, things that you have to go through. I personally don't want to go through that again. So
Um, so since you got married young and you had your child in your mid 20s, I know you love your daughter to death. I know you love your daughter more than anyone, more than anything in this world, and I know you don't ever regret having her. But I'm just curious, you know, um, do you like are there ever times where it's like, and like your ex-husband had kids, do you I'm trying to ask you, are there ever times where you feel like, damn, like maybe there's some things that I could have been doing in my 20s, but I just really can't even think about doing them because I had, like, my daughter is my main priority now. And when it comes to like traveling, whether it be solo trips, girls trips, whether it just be being able to just go out and do certain things, like, does that stuff ever get to you?
yeah, it does because it's like now, I definitely like can't travel and do any of that stuff. And I wanted to travel like for a second before I even met my ex-husband. I wanted to go study abroad in Japan because I speak Japanese, it's my third language. And I wanted to go study abroad and live there. But I decided not to. But it's like now it's like it will be completely different. Like I know you can travel with your kids, but it's not as fun as and liberating as traveling alone or traveling with your significant other.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I wish I would have definitely traveled more. And it's like kind of everything that I do is based on other people because it's like Like if you're having a child, you need to have a village. And if you don't have a village, then pretty much like you have to do everything. Like you have to have babysitter to go out. You have to have a babysitter to
Right.
hang with your friends or go on a date or do whatever. And if you
Right.
can't get one, you can't go. So
I already know how that
yeah,
goes. Well, and
yeah.
I know you're very transparent with men about having a child, and we've talked. I know you said that you actually prefer to date a man that already has a child, but has, like, ever since you've been separated from your ex-husband, has having a child had any, and when I say effect, like, I'm asking, has it been any bit of a hindrance at all for you in dating? Like, has there been any men that have told you, like, I rock with you, but I'm just not necessarily trying to, like, be a stepfather right now or something of the sort?
Very rarely, I would say, because my identity primarily and like who I am, like if they had like a first conversation with me or they saw me on a dating app, they would see that I have a child. So it's like they know straight from the jump that I have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So with them knowing that, they already understand what comes with it because I have the conversation with them. I tell them what I'm looking for and they tell me if they can rock with that or not. But most of the time, I don't have that issue. Even the guys with no kids, they really try to date me, are taking me seriously. They're like, oh, but most of them also want to have a child with me. But I tell them like I don't want to have any more. So that's like a conflict of interest. But they still try to date me. Some of them even say like, I don't want to have any kids. I just want to be in a relationship with you. I'll help take care of your kid too, or whatever. So I don't feel like it's had a hindrance on my dating life at all. Um,
These men be fronting though too, though. Like,
oh yeah.
like, be honest, have you ever? Because listen, like, especially when they're dealing with women that have children, like, they'll try to make it seem as if they don't have you having a child, and I'm not talking about you specific. I'm just saying women in general. They'll try to make it seem like you having a child or children is not a problem at all, and despite the fact that they're childless, they're more than down to, like, assume a stepfather role. But sometimes, like we were just talking about Derek Jackson, sometimes these men will just be trying to tell you whatever they think you want to hear and whatever sounds good enough to try to get in your pants. And then,
Mhm.
like, so basically what I'm asking you is, has you ever had a conversation with a man where it was like, oh, okay, like, he's saying things that you want to hear. He sounded like somebody that you can invest some time into, but it was pretty evident early on that he was not about anything that he was saying.
Yeah, and that's why like that's the important thing about being sexually disciplined. Because when you vet a guy correctly and when you go on multiple dates with them and you have meaningful and deep conversations with them, then you get to understand what their intentions truly are. Because they could say one thing in a conversation, and as you're talking to them more, they're going to reveal themselves. Like you can't say one thing and then just stick with that one thing if your intentions are not pure. I'm going to figure it out because I'm listening to you and I'm watching you. So as I'm talking to them, I can see if their intentions are pure or not. And one of the times I was talking to a guy, he didn't have any children. He wanted to be in a relationship with me. He said he would accept my child and that, it doesn't matter if I don't want to have any kids because he just liked me that much. So I'm like, all right, cool. I went on 3 dates with him. We had a great time. Um, but then I just, on the third date and like after that, I was talking to him. I'm like, hey, like, are you sure that you want to be with me? Because I'm not. I'm not giving you a child. And he's like, yeah, you know, you're right. I do think that's a deal breaker at the end of the day. Like, I really like you, but I want a child one day. And I was like, okay, I understand. And, but I already knew that though, you know, like I already knew because he said in the first place that's what he wanted. So, I still try to give him a chance, even though he already said that he wanted kids, because I just want to see what he was talking about, you know, try to give him
Hmm.
a chance, but I can see through all of that. Um, but of course, because because I'm sexually disciplined, and even if he was trying to just get in my pants, he didn't even get that far. It was only the third date, so he didn't even get we didn't have sex or anything like that. So
Shit.
um,
The third date is 3 dates too long for a lot of men nowadays.
I know.